A craftsman is endowed with a talent to create and revive ancient art. Metal ornaments are forged and stones are also carved into delicate shapes of jewelry. This is genius art. Hello, you're watching Kazakh Live Dastur. I am Tamara Assar. Today we will talk about sophisticated applied crafts.
Қолөнер жайында әңгіме қозғаймыз.
In ancient times, Kazakhs learned to work with solid wood and found its application in arts and crafts.
Ағаш өнеріне аса мән берген. Осы жайында бүгін баяндайтын біздің студиямыздың қонағы.
The guest of our program, Abay Maqaraula, is a writer, a member of Kazakhstan Union of Writers, an ethnographer, and a journalist. He will tell us about traditional crafts. Welcome. Thank you. Hello. How much is joiner's work significant in the life of our people? We can say that the Kazakhs were the first to develop this craft, having produced thousands of fine joinery products. For instance, there is a dwelling of ancient Kazakhs, yurt. It represents a carpenter's delicate work. Its structure is made of wood. You're right. An infant's rocking crib, the sacred Kazakh cradle.
Алдымен бесіктің басы, иілген аяғы керек.
It's the representation of delicate ancient applied crafts. To make the cradle first, it's necessary to carve curved headboards and footboards. High-quality wood is selected, then it is cleaned of bark and dried in the shade.
Сол көлеміне сай, жақсылап, сол көлемде талды қиып алады ғой енді. Бірінші, сол бесіктің басы мен аяғы.
The size of the cradle is commonly known. A workpiece is cut to size. First of all, the craftsman carefully and slowly curved the wood for headboards and footboards. The headboard is carved thinner, but the main construction remains rectangular or rounded.
Үстіп иіп алған бесіктің басы мен аяғына екі жерден.
Basically, it's rounded because it's more convenient. Then holes are made at the headboards and footboards in two places to fix crossboards, sharba, along the entire length of the cradle.
Осы балдақтың үстіне шарбақ ағаш салады.
It's wonderful.
Енді осы шарбақ ағаштың үстінде жаңа баланың жұмсақ жабдығы жатады ғой енді.
Bedding and mattress are made up, then a child is laid. The top of headboards and footboards are connected by a thick stick called arqalıq.
Көлдің ағаш тұрады жаңа, көлдің ағаш дейді. Арқалық ағаш дейді, арқалық дейді, арқалық.
It is also called shiten. The ends are tied with rawhide so that it's soft. Soft rawhide makes the structure movable. Let's discuss other details. A soft felt piece is put. A special hole is made for the container, which ensures hygienic cleanliness. Cold ash is poured under the hole. Ash absorbs baby's urine. As a result, the child remains clean and dry. It's also convenient when moving from one place to another, since Kazakh people led a nomadic way of life in the ancient times. It doesn't spill.
Жүзге отырған кезде астынан тоңбайды, жүзге отырған нәрсесіне күлге сіңіп.
While the child sleeps for a long time in the cradle, he will stay dry and comfortable. There's also an element, Jibek, a funnel made from juniper. This element is intended for both girls' and boys' hygienic cleanliness, and it's environmentally friendly because juniper is used.
Дегеніңіз аршадан жасағандықтан ол бірінші экологиялық өте таза. Арша деген ең таза ағаш қой.
It prevents from various diseases. It causes no harm to the delicate baby's body. In addition, juniper does not absorb moisture, as its surface is smooth. The liquid leaks through it and isn't accumulated inside. The main construction of the cradle is two curved parts, with longitudinal boards between them. Rods and crossboards are fixed. The cradle comes with a very durable frame, equipped with almost flat legs and thick stretcher for stability. What is the essence of arqalıq? This element is designed in order for the baby to not suffocate while breastfeeding. A mother can lean on that stick, and it's like a security element. It's made for safety. The first function of arqalıq is to protect the child from suffocation if his mother suddenly falls asleep. The second is that the cradle is covered with a piece of fabric after feeding. There is much room left inside for the child's breathing. Toys, a bell, a baby rattle can be hung over the arqalıq. And when the baby wakes up, he will play with toys hanging over him. And if he starts to cry, then someone will come and begin to rock the cradle.
Ал енді кішкене жыласа, ағалары, бауырлары, әпекелері барып теріп етеді. Ақырын теріп етеді.
Once it is rocked, it will automatically rock further. Yes, once you rock it, then it swings by itself. Cradle is a unique workpiece, which is intended for an infant. The main thing is that it's ecologically friendly. Nowadays, babies wear diapers. It's harmful for their health, but it's convenient. But when the baby lies in the cradle, he's clean without diapers. There is no bad smell, as ash absorbs everything inside. Yes, there is no smell. Ash absorbs liquid, and it's clean. And when the baby is removed from the cradle, then everything is cleaned well, washed. The bandages, ribbons are removed. I told only about the mechanical part, about wood, but not about materials. You can tell only about wood. But if we talk about bedding, this is also a whole art. Yes, it is art. I told you only about wooden parts. In general, the cradle is safe to use while having nomadic lifestyle. When the mother is feeding her baby, she will not fall asleep and not suffocate her baby. While moving from one place to another and riding the horse, the cradle can be fastened on a saddle in front of a man or fixed on the side. A few words about security. I wrote the article, The Sacred Cradle, which tells the baby's survival in distress. For example, mad flow washed houses away, demolishing all the buildings. The cradle was carried away by the flow but suddenly fastened on a hanging branch. Parents searched for a cradle, already having bad fears, but the baby survived thanks to cradle construction and lied calmly inside. This shows how wise the Kazakh people were to have thought out every detail and purpose of the cradle. Yes, Kazakh people were talented in applied arts and craft skills. The handicrafts had logical as well as hygienic purposes. They were safe as well. They were safe and comfortable. They were multi-purpose handicrafts. All this found its traces in art. Such a wonderful thing. You're right. Thank you very much for coming to our studio and telling so many interesting things. Waiting for you again. Thank you for promoting our culture. I just shared my knowledge with people. Kazakh proverb says, people's future begins with a cradle, and it has a deep meaning. Discussing the cradle as an example, we plunged into the history of applied art. Many thanks to you. I wish you success in your work.
Берекетті болсын енді.
Қазақтың зергерлік өнері
Jewelry art is the source of the nomadic Kazakh people's culture. The next guest of our studio is a person who contributes to the development of Asian jewelry traditions. His aim is to preserve and multiply the heritage of his ancestors. The jeweler Yestai Serikbayulu Daubayev is an honored worker of Kazakhstan, Associate Professor of Temirbek Jurgenov National Academy of Arts, the member of the Academy of Artists.
Суретшілер академиясының академигі зергер Естай Серікбайұлы Даубаев ортамызда отыр.
Welcome to our studio. I see you have brought your pieces of jewelry to our studio. Tell us about it.
Жалпы зергерлік өнер жайында әңгіме қозғасаңыз.
Енді зергерлік өнер жаңа айтып отырмыз ғой, қазақ өнерін.
Kazakh people consider jewelry as a spiritual representation of Asian art as well as a way of life.
Бір қасиетті дейміз ба, негізгі дейміз ба, анау ерте заманнан бастап осы өнер затының алғашқысы.
This is one of the most Asian crafts of our people, because in the past times, all the products used in everyday life at home were made by jewelers. They were skilled to make dishes, furniture, jewelry, and horse harness.
Ыдыс-аяқ, жиһаздар, ол әшекейлер демекші. Ол ат әбзелдері,
біздің қазақ халқы
Here are copies of Asian jewelry. You made some of them. What's the difference between this jewelry and the jewelry made by masters of other nations?
әшекей бұйымдарының өзгешелігі басқа ұлттардан, шеберлерінің өзгешелігі қаншалықты?
They differ in many ways, especially jewelry made by Kazakh goldsmith of the western part of our country is quite unique. All those jewels can hardly regard without a feeling of admiration. What a skill. It was high achievement for those times to produce such subtle and complex jewelry in large quantities. Presently, there are modern technologies to produce jewelry.
Ерекше қылып беру деген ол заманда қазір біз әбден технология дамыған замандамыз, біз бақыттымыз біз.
Yes, there are beautiful jewelry. Yes, all the designs are possible. There are special computer programs to create jewelry. It's just necessary to have computer skills to produce designs and cut with special device. There are modern technologies. There are jewelers who use these technologies. Sometimes I try to use all my creativity to try out new ideas. I imagine the craftsman of those times and his workshop, his tools, methods he used to produce jewelry. It's an ingenious mastership to generate such complicated and intricate ideas, jewelry. This is incredible. Yes, impressive and hard to express with words. Of course, they had their own secrets of skill, certain specifics of work. Nobody was allowed to enter the workshop. The workshop was considered a sacred place. Nobody was allowed to be there. The craftsmen first prayed before entering the workshop. There is a whole rite, but it was indeed. They believed that luck would accompany them while working.
Дұғасын айтып барып, бісміллә деп барып ұстау керек деген сияқты.
Yes, this rite was followed. Otherwise, it was believed that fortune would turn away or talent would be lost.
Сіз жақсы әңгімені қозғап отырсыз.
You touched upon an interesting theme. At the time when people truly believe in science along with traditions, artisans especially followed them.
Мынау пірге табыну, тәңірге табынудың кезінде ырым тыйымдарды осы ұста шеберлерді қатты ұстанған қолының шеберлігі.
Talent could be lost in an instant because no one had studied this phenomenon, where talent comes from and who's gifted with talent. And if this happens, people used to say the craftsman was cursed or cast an evil eye on. Therefore, jewelers did not allow anyone to use their own tools or to see how they work. Have you had this? Do you show someone your unfinished works?
Немесе оны біреуге жұмыс жасап жатқан кезін көрсетуге болмайды екен. Сіздің өзіңізде сондай кез болды ма? Әлде сіз көрсетпейсіз ба, көрсетесіз ба?
Енді мен
I deliver lectures at the Academy of Arts. Of course, I show my work to students. There is a workshop in the academy. Sometimes I take my students there and show the jewelry I'm working over at the moment, so that they better understand the process and essence of the work.
Кейде тіпті дұрыс түсіну үшін өзінің бір істеп жатқан жұмысының процесін керекті жерін.
Patriotic emotions grow stronger when I see young people are interested in traditional art. I want and strive to pass on my knowledge to future generations.
Ол бір сезім туады, мен неге мына білгенімді балаларға бермеске.
The continuity of generations, succession of generations. This is our common duty. Yes, we must take care of each other. It's our duty. Let's discuss your jewelry. What is this called? This is called the ring of co-mother-in-law. The ring of co-mother-in-law. See how wonderful it is. The bride's father prepares the gift in advance. He can order it from jewelers or he can make it himself.
Осы құдағи жүзікті, оны зергерге заказ беру мүмкін. Өзі дайындауы мүмкін.
A year after the wedding, he presents this ring to the co-mother-in-law as a gift. With this action, parents ascertain that young people lives happily. The co-mother-in-law accepted his daughter and loves her.
Қызымды өз балаңдай қабылдадың, балалар бақытты, қызым бақытты, деп сол өзін.
This is his gift. Yes, he presents gift. What is it?
Түсініксіз нәрсе бұл не?
It's a button. And who wore it? Was there really such a big button? They were worn by men. It signified the rank, status, position of the man. Distinguishing feature. Yes, it can be called so. Mark of distinction. This is designed to wear with chapan, kaftan. Yes, it's worn over the shoulders. A button on the side of the collar, and on the other there is
Bir жағында мына түйме тігілу тұрады, екі жағында
a loop.
түймегісі болады. Сол
Yes, a buttonhole. Thanks to this, the chapan does not slide off the shoulders.
Түймелері
So it's possible to determine the rank thanks to this button.
лауазымын анықтауға болған ғой сол.
Иә.
Yes, these items are made in 3 different techniques. What kind of techniques exactly?
Мынау сірке.
Etching, filigree. This technique is more complicated. Both filigree and etching are used.
Филеуде бар, филигранды бар, мына күрделі.
This is such a delicate job. It reflects the genuine skill. We can see how much patience and perseverance were shown to achieve such mastership. It's obvious that the jewelry is endowed with talent. I am sure that maintaining such level developing skills requires a strong character.
Бұны дамытып ұстай білу, енді бұл асқан тектілікті талап ететін шығар.
I wish you success and more inspiration. Be sure to come again. Thank you.
Біз әрбір бағдарламамызға дәстүр
We try to invite researchers of traditional applied crafts, cultural scientists to our program. And the next guest is a professor of Temirbek Jurgenov National Academy of Arts, a candidate of philosophical sciences, and artist Жанарбек Берстен.
кандидаты, суретші Жанарбек Берстен ағамыз келіп отыр. Қош келдіңіз.
You're welcome. The theme of our conversation is traditional handicraft. Therefore, I would like to ask you, how many types of applied arts are there, and what areas they are divided into?
Қай салаға бөлінеді, қаншалықты екен сұрағымыз келді.
біздің бүкіл
We learn all the wealth of the Kazakh culture thanks to the talents of representatives of traditional applied art. They pass down knowledge from generation to generation. Its form is preserved in its initial view. They're presented in the same way as they have been in the ancient times. Artisans are conventionally divided into traditional and those who blend the modern style with antique elements. The peculiarity of the applied craft is that the craftsman must also be a philosopher to some extent. Otherwise, he will not be able to convey the essence of his creation. Of course, the art critic will be able to understand the meaning and describe in words, but the artisan must be able to represent the cultural meaning, symbols of the item. Wood and bone carvings are interconnected crafts. The museum in Kostanay keeps a sample of bone skates made in the Bronze Age.
несінде ең алғашқы сүйектен жасалған мысалы конькидің несі бар.
In Kostanay, yes, in Kostanay Museum, they were discovered in the Soviet times. This was not so widely covered in scientific works. However, they exist. Who made them? Apparently, they were made by our ancestors, since they were found on our land. Our people are happy to have the history of 4,000 years. Are skates carved from bone? Yes, the first skates in history made of bone. Petroglyphs depicting skis were found as well. We should be proud of the fact that unique handiworks important for the development of civilization were found precisely in the Kazakh land.
Жерінде орта жерде шығып отыр десек, үлкен бір мақтанышты біз үшін. Енді сүйек өнерінің
As I said, bone carving is associated with wood carving. Chests, weapons, harness, everything was decorated with bone.
тоқымдардың бәрінде сүйектің әшекейлері өте көп. Сүйек деген өте бір нәзік өнер. Ол енді мына
Bone carvings represent a rare delicacy. It requires high skills. In the villages, Kazakhs never threw cattle bones away. They were boiled thoroughly. Then the dried bones were processed and used for jewelry.
осы бүкіл заттарға әшекей қондырады ғой зергерлер.
They were polished. When the cattle was sold, a piece of wool was coated with its saliva and left for good luck. In fact, people believe that bones also retain good luck and happiness, so this material was used everywhere, in everyday life.
Сол өзінің үй жиһаздарын бәріне кіргізетін болған ғой. Құт берекем кетпесін деп.
This is a sign and the principle of economy. People follow the rule of non-waste life. After all, they honored cattle, so they did not throw bones away, but kept them.
Байланысты. Себебі жеген еттің сүйек саяғы әр жерде
Apparently, people believe that if they are disrespectful to bones, it could cause hunger and disaster.
деп қарап, ертеңгі күні осыны қадірлемесек, аш қаламыз деген қорқынышта болған шығар.
Yes, this is true. All the traditions are connected with culture. Our ancestors dealt with everything wisely, tried to use all things in everyday life. It carries a deep meaning, although it's presented in the form of science.
Түп мағынасы осыған келіп тұр бәрі.
Were there many bone carvers among Kazakhs?
Енді ескі замандарда енді бір кереметтей фабрика, завод, өндірістер, ошақтар болмады.
In ancient times, there were no workshops, mass production. Therefore, every family learned to acquire bone carving skills. In addition, for example, during the road time of Qasim Khan, artisan communities were organized in some villages. When the young couple created family, the skeleton of the yurt, its walls were to be made and brought by the groom. In those days, nomads were able to make jewelry and some household items themselves.
Адам сол кезде бүкіл ер тұрманнан бастап әшекейлерін бар өздері жасай алатындай болғанда қабілетті деп ойлаймын.
Wonderful. They even had to learn skills. Yes, almost every person in ancient times acquired the skills of crafting. They themselves made a whip, harness, household items. This was vitally necessary for a living, so a person had to be able to craft everything himself. Art was born due to everyday life necessities. And what did artisans make of bone?
Сүйектен айтып отырмын ғой мына жеке.
We can't say that bone carving was some kind of separated craft. Bone was mainly used for product design. Also, funnels for cradles were made from bones.
Одан басқа мына бесіктегі чүмектер жасалған шағын.
Tubek. Yes, tubek. Beautiful and delicate combs from the time of the Sogdians are also kept.
Орталық музейлердің бәрінде ондай заттар бар.
Mirrors were beautifully framed. Yes, there were frames from bones for the mirror, such decorations made from bones. After all, tallow was thoroughly rendered out of bone. And then in the course of work, did craftsmen lubricate the product with some fluid? No. After melting tallow, the bones were boiled in water for a long time to make it easier to process. The surface of the bone is uneven. It should be polished. And now, are there any bone carvers? Jewelers, wood carvers still consider bone as one of the popular products to work with. There are artisans who have given a new impetus to the supplied craft and continue the traditions of our ancestors. There are many talented craftsmen. Bone is especially popular among our people. Small figurines and souvenirs are cut from bones. There are masters who have perfectly acquired this craft. In addition, the development of technologies contributed to revival of this art. Now the bone can be processed in every possible way and given any shape. Thank you very much for such an important conversation. I wish you success in your work.
Сізге еңбегіңізге табыс тілейміз.
Traditional crafts are an important art form, as well as a sign of the Kazakh people's great abilities to create magnificent pieces. You watch Kazakh Live Dastur program with Tamara Assar. See you soon.